Hey, hello everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for checking out another one of my videos. Today is a beautiful day and I'm just out here getting the sun. It's midday. I'm doing it before I take my flight. I'm about to leave the beautiful Jakarta, Indonesia. I've had a really wonderful time, but now it's time to go. And I'll pan the camera a little bit. If you look, you see here in the background, this is I'm at my hotel. It's right next to an airport, so you may see airplanes fly by in the background, or you may hear them. And this is also symbolism for what I'm talking about in this video, which is the energies of flying, the energy deprivations that we experience when we fly, which is basically jet lag. And by understanding like the different components of jet lag, we can minimize it, and once we reach our destination, we can hit the ground running and do, whether it's visiting our loved ones, we can meet and greet them with a smile and with enthusiasm, or whether it's whether you're going for business, you can hit the ground running for business. You're thinking sharply and you're ready to make that business deal. So if those two reasons aren't good enough, I don't know what it is. So to me, I think this video is quite important if you're a traveler and you take flights, especially flights that are more than like 3, 4, 5 hours. You know, the longer, the more of a strain it is on your body. Okay, so me, how do I view flights? I view flights as like an elite athletic event, because, and that's not exaggeration, because that's what it's doing to your body and your biology. You're subjecting yourself to extreme situations, extreme circumstances that you're not normally accustomed to. You're separating your body, your biology from all of the physics of the earth that you are accustomed to. And when I explain this, I'm going to use three points to explain it, to keep it simple. And those 3 points are light, water, and magnetism. Those are the 3 things that we need on Earth to sustain life. And you know, the planet Mars, they say once upon a time it had life, because once upon a time it had a magnetic field. It still has water, very little, and it has sunlight, but it no longer has a magnetic field to help whatever organisms absorb that sunlight or protect them from excessive sunlight or excessive cosmic radiation and energy. Okay, so for the first half of the video, I'm going to talk about like how these 3 things deplete energy from our body, or screw up our body's ability to comprehend these energies. And for the second half of the video, I'm going to talk about ways that we can mitigate light, water, magnetism, or minimize the negative effects that we get from deprivation or light, water, magnetism being altered. Okay, so I'll start with magnetism. All right, magnetism, we know the Earth has a magnetic field. Like, I'm sitting on the ground right now. I'm grounded. I'm connected to the Earth's magnetic field. Even if I wasn't sitting on the Earth's magnetic field, I'm still within the Earth's magnetic field, even if I was hovering above it. But touching it, it makes it a little better. But right now I'm exposed to the Earth's magnetic field. I'm grounded, so I'm receiving the infinite supply of electrons from the Earth, which allows me to absorb the maximal amount of light, energy, cosmic radiation safely. Okay, and when you fly, when you're in an airplane, you're leaving the Earth's magnetic field, so you lose this ability. You lose your magnetism. When you lose your magnetism, you lose your ability to hold electrons, to hold energy. And you know, what's an electron? We get electrons from food. Like when we digest food, we script the electrons from food, and our mitochondria, after a series of steps, our mitochondria combines the food with oxygen, and we make different forms of energy. Okay, so you know, we're flying the airplane, we're disconnected from the Earth's magnetic field. So in that situation, you're losing electrons. Like, you're going to lose some of the electrons from your body, which is basically you lose components of food, components of energy that we make food from. And you're also going to lose the ability or lose some of your potential to hold the energy that you already have, because you're not exposed to the Earth's magnetic field when you're flying high up in the air. Okay, how does this scale down to mitochondria? What's a mitochondria? Mitochondria are the energy making bacteria that have a symbiotic relationship with all the cells within our body. They are part of the cell, but but at the same time they're their own individual organism, but they are part of a cell. They're two organisms within the cell, because they have their own DNA. All right, with mitochondria, they make all of our energy. Like the output of a mitochondria, when mitochondria receive electrons and receive oxygen, they make three things. They make carbon dioxide, they make water, and they make ATP. Carbon dioxide is considered a waste product. ATP is basically energy, and water, we know what water is. And you're probably wondering, like, why do they make water? Don't we drink water? Don't we get water from our environment? Well, I think they make water because I've said it before in my other videos. I see water as a battery. Water is the storage battery for energy. So I think they have to produce the battery along with the energy that is contained by the battery. So that's the effect on your mitochondria. You're gonna lose some of the electrons, which is the raw material that your mitochondria use to make energy. So this is going to be an extra strain on your mitochondria. So your mitochondria, that's one stressor for your mitochondria. You know, your mitochondria are the main energy makers for your body, and they're strained because they have less of a fuel to make energy, which are the electrons. So that's one strain. That's one issue from flying and being separated from Earth's magnetic field. All right, so the next thing I'll talk about is water. Okay, I just mentioned to you before, water is the battery. Water is the storage system for information, the storage system for energy, and the human body, we're mostly water. We are like 80+% water, and water is very important. And when we fly, when we're away from the Earth's magnetic field, we're higher up, we're exposed to more radiation. We're closer to the sun, and we're going to experience radiations that we don't normally experience when we're down here. And like when I say radiations, I'm not just talking about the visible spectrum of light and even the invisible spectrums, the infrared and the UV. I'm also talking about the other spectrums, such as the radio, microwave, gamma rays. We're going to be closer to, we're going to be higher off the Earth, so we're going to have more exposure to those. And like, why is this an issue? Well, you know what a microwave is, right? You put meat in a microwave, you cook it. What happens? The meat is all rubbery and dehydrated. Well, that same thing is happening to you, of course, on a much smaller scale. It's cooking your tissues and reducing their functions and making them more dehydrated and rubbery and useless. So that's happening to you by being exposed to the extra microwaves that are higher up above the Earth. And the radio waves, they're right next to microwaves on the electromagnetic light spectrum. You know, you can Google electromagnetic light spectrum to look at all the different spectrums of light, and radio waves are right next to it. So they also have microwave properties. They can cook you. They have the ability to slow cook you. All right, so that's another thing that's happening. You're going to be losing water. You're going to be experiencing dehydration, and your tissues are also going to be being cooked, and they're going to be losing water, which can reduce their functions. Your tissues, your organs. So that's water. That's like one of the major effects of water when we fly. And you're probably thinking, we're cooking, but I don't feel myself cooking. Well, think about UV light. Like you can be right in front of a UV light. It there's no heat coming off of it, but if you stay next to it long enough, it will burn your skin off. And you know, the same thing can happen when we are exposed to these other foreign frequencies of light that we can't really perceive because the effects are so subtle in our minds. Okay, so that's water, and the last one I'm going to talk about is light, and this is probably the most controversial. Well, part of it is going to be controversial when I start talking about how it affects your circadian rhythms. And the light, okay, when we fly, during the daytime, of course, we're exposed to a lot more visible light because we're higher up and we're closer to the sun. So and during the daytime, you're going to be getting a lot more light. And during the nighttime, there's going to be a lot less light, and you're going to have the magnetic field is going to be stronger for you because the magnetic field on Earth is stronger during the nighttime. So you know, that's nighttime is a safer time. But what you're going to be subjected to at nighttime is more artificial light, specifically the blue spectrum, the light that we use every day to power our appliances, our cell phones, the light that we look at through television, cell phones, computers, and stuff like this. You're going to be exposed to more of that at nighttime, and if you're on an airplane, and like with the light situation, there seems like there's not really much you can do because you know during the daytime you're going to be exposed to all this light, and really you can just focus on hydration, and at nighttime all you can do is really just block the light, or you could block all of the light, all of it, and I'll explain later like how you can block the light. Okay, so those are some of the things that affect us when we fly, when we're in an airplane. I just hit light, water, magnetism. Now I'm going to talk about some ways that we can combat this, some ways we can mitigate it or reduce the effects of these things, so that when we arrive to our destination, we can hit the ground running passionately, enthusiastically, with high energy, and getting the most out of our time. Okay, so back to magnetism. Okay, I mentioned to you before that you're gonna lose magnetism when you fly. So how can you get some of the magnetism back? How can you preserve some of your magnetism when you're on an airplane? Well, when you're on an airplane is grounded. All of the electrical equipment on an airplane is grounded. It has to be grounded, or the electrical equipment won't work well. There's so much electrical equipment on an airplane, it must be grounded. So you could ground yourself on the airplane. How can you ground yourself? You can ground yourself by touching anything on the airplane that's metal. All the metal on the airplane is grounded. So by touching it, it automatically grounds you. It makes you more magnetic. It gives you some free electrons, and you minimize losing electrons, and you preserve some of your electrons and your energetic needs by grounding yourself on the airplane. All right, I have a quick little video that will show you how to ground yourself on the airplane. Just a second. Okay, in that video, you saw like in the seat in front of me, there was a metal. I put my bare foot on that metal, which grounded me. And there was also metal below my seat. I put my foot on that metal. I'm also grounded. But in some airplanes, it's like a footstool that you can flip down from the seat. If it's made of metal, you can put your foot on that also, and it grounds you. It gives you some electrons from the airplane, and this will kind of hold you over a little bit until you get back to the ground where it's natural and normal. Okay, another way you can make yourself more magnetic is through your diet, and this is a lot of this is my opinion, like, so take it for what it's worth. But with diet, you want to make yourself you want to have a high electron diet. You want to have high energy diet, and that's going to be different for everyone, because everyone's different. Our DNA, our instructions for light is different. Everyone's different, and also like the region you live in is going to shape how you experience and use light. So with food, my approach is to eat a very, very high energy, high electron diet. And to me, what's a high electron diet? Fats. Fats are very high in electron. When I say fats, I'm talking about living fats and fats that aren't processed or anything artificial. I'm talking about margarine and vegetable oil and stuff like this. I'm talking about natural fats that we see like the butter, the nuts, things like this. Very high energy food, because a carbohydrate breaks down to 36 ATP, which is energy, and the same amount of fat breaks down to like 150 ATP. So fat has 5 times the energy of a carbohydrate. It has 5 times the energy, and like a lot of you probably follow the calorie theory. I don't believe in the calorie theory at all. I focus on like the energetics of food, how much energy it has, how much energy it can put into the body, and to give it life and rejuvenate it. So that's my take on like adding magnetism through diet. You definitely want to put more energy in your body, in your diet, before you get on the flight, because of what you're going to lose once you get on the airplane. Okay, so that's magnetism. Now I'm going to talk about water. Okay, with water, as I mentioned before, I view flying as like a very extreme competitive event, and I really prepare for it fiercely, because with jet lag, I don't know about you, I've had jet lag that lasted like 3 days. That means my body was off for 3 days, probably more than that. It took me 3 days to feel back to normal. So it probably went up to 2 weeks to get my biology back to normal. That's why I view it the way I view it. But with water, before you even get on the plane, you want to really super hydrate your body. And this means you're going to be doing lots of peeing. You want to drink excessive amounts of water, basically to flush your body out and have your body fresh when you get on the airplane, because of the water is going to be taken from it. And what I mean by fresh, like if everything's flushed out, the demand for water is going to be less before you even get on the plane, so you have like a fresher body. I mean, you're going to be peeing it out anyway, but your body, if you clean your body out with water first, you're going to be fresher, and everything is going to be more ready to go, more so ready to go than if you did not extra hydrate yourself before you got on the flight. And even once you're on the flight, if you have the ability, still drink as much water constantly, even if you're peeing all through the flight, because the extra radiation that you're going to be exposed to, I just talked to you about it, it's going to be constantly dehydrating the water out of your body and dehydrating the water out of your tissues. And again, your mitochondria make water, and they make water. It's not for no reason. They make water for a reason, and it's an energetic reason, obviously, because mitochondria are there to create energy. So water, you want to constantly hydrate because of what you're going to be losing during the flight. Okay, and that's water. Also, once you get back to the ground, you want to keep hydrating, and once you get back to the ground, you want to ground yourself, take your shoes off, go for a walk, I don't know, exercise, get the light, get the oxygen running back through your system to get everything normalized once you get back to a normal, natural ground environment after you fly. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about light, how to mitigate light. And again, this is a little bit controversial because it's so difficult to explain, but I think it's extremely important. All right, number one, with the light, if it's possible, you don't want to take a daytime flight because of because the sun's out, and you're going to be exposed to it's already going to be excessive radiation whether you do it at night or not. But if you do it during the daytime, you're going to be exposed to huge amounts of radiation. So night flights are the best. Night flights are the best. And if you do a night flight, you're going to be exposed to lots of artificial light. They'll likely have all artificial lights on. And what you can do for this, you want to cover all of your skin, because with the artificial light, we use blue spectrum light, and your skin senses like the spectrums of light, and you produce hormones to instruct your body like how to process the light, how to use that light. But in our biology, blue spectrum light is artificial. It's in the sun, but it's still coming from an artificial source, so it's junk. You don't need it, but it's still going to give information to your body. And of course, it's going to be wrong information, because when you get blue spectrum light in the sun, it's combined with a bunch of other different spectrums of light, which 42% is red spectrum light, and then a little bit is blue, and the rest are like the other spectrums of light. So with the artificial light, you want to just block it. You want to just block it. Many people think this is negligible or not important, and this is what I challenge you to do. And a lot of people are gonna think this is controversial, but I can tell you from my own personal experience that by blocking the artificial light and really focusing on that, it changes a lot of things. And the only way to know about this is to like get rid of it completely for like 1 month and see how you feel and see all the changes. And then I think you will. I know you will be a believer. You won't be able to lie to yourself about this. All right, so eyes, like I talked about, skin, the blue spectrum light on the skin, like even like shining like in a dark room, you can shine light on your like your leg or something, like a flashlight, and it affects like how your body makes melatonin. Melatonin is a sleep hormone, and in the presence of blue light, melatonin it can't produce. It takes like 4 hours of darkness in order to maximally produce melatonin. And also with the blue light, one of the purposes of blue light in the sun is to make vitamin A. Vitamin A controls the day and night cycles within your body. It ultimately it signals your body and tells it it's time to go to sleep or it's time to wake up. It's time to go to sleep. It's time to wake up. But when you're exposed to blue light all day long, then you constantly get that your pituitary, which receives the blue light and transforms it into hormones. It can burn it out and make it not work as well as it should work, and confuse your biology, and things won't work as they won't follow the program that they should be following. Okay, so that's it with the blue light. So the way I block the blue light, I really focus on my eyes. I cover my entire body like with long sleeve shirts and stuff. It's just a flight, it's just a short flight. It's no big deal. So I just cover my body. And if it's nighttime, I wear glasses. I wear blue spectrum blocking glasses, which I've made a video about that before. I didn't explain it well enough, so I may make another one and go into good detail about it. But I have orange glasses that block the spectrums of blue that disrupt circadian rhythms the most. And then I have even stronger ones. They're red, which they're very difficult to see, and you'll be weird if you go in public wearing them. But they work like a charm. And if you have neither of these, sunglasses is the next best thing, or you can simply just cover your eyes with like an eye patch, because light does go through your eyelids. Like I know from my own experiences, completely covering my eyes and blocking the light, it helps me sleep better, because light goes through your eyelids. I sleep much better by fully covering my eyes. Sometimes I use glasses while I sleep. Sometimes I use some eye patch, eye guard, or I just make sure the room's completely dark. Okay, so that's light. Again, it's light, water, magnetism. 3 things you want to pay attention to when you travel, so that when you get to your destination, you hit the ground running, and you have high energy to conquer the world and love as hard as you need to love, and do what it is to impose your will and your way on the universe. So I hope that you learned something from this video. A lot of this could apply to any type of travel, but specifically flying. Flying is a huge stressor on the body, and we think it's not much because we don't perceive it, but it takes you like a week or two to fully get back to normal after you fly. And like me, I physically feel it for up to like 3 days. And the reasons why is the disruptions on your mitochondria. I talked about that. Like it disrupts how your mitochondria make energy. It disrupts how your mitochondria make water. And with the artificial light, it disrupts how your brain determines the night and day cycle. And on top of all of that, if you're traveling, you're probably crossing time zones. So you're gonna alter like the time clock in your head by crossing over time zones. That compounds the problem. That compounds the issue even more. So by doing these things, you can get back on track as quickly and as soon as possible. So thank you so much again for tuning in. Next time I make a video, I'll be in a different location, and I have to leave this really beautiful place on the equator. I'm going to go a little bit further away from the equator. And again, thank you so much. I love you. Love yourself. Just spread love. Be love. Tell someone you love them. Do something nice for a stranger. Spread love. We need more of that in the world. That's my message. So again, thank you so much. I'll see you next time. I'm gone.